measure that you were able to save that money, and by the time that you set for yourself, you should be able to say, okay, 12 months is here, I have $10,000, or I've started the business, or I've lost the weight. Again, I'm going back to school, whatever you want to apply it to. So the SMART goal setting method is truly effective. I've utilized it myself, so I'm not talking about anything that I haven't done myself. The People's Voice. Welcome back. This is the People's Voice. I am Trey Evans, and I am the People's Voice. Thank you again for checking out the podcast this week. As always, it's greatly appreciated. As always, we thank everyone who has taken some time out to listen to the podcast today. We do understand that you can be utilizing your time to do something else, so we do appreciate you taking some time to tap in with us today to spend your time equity. As always, if this information is valuable and you find it to be impacting and enlightening, we do ask that you subscribe to the podcast. That way you'll be notified when each episode is released. We put out a new episode each and every Friday, which can be heard on all podcast platforms. And of course, we put out a video on YouTube every Wednesday for those who would like to watch the podcast. But as always, thank you and welcome to the People's Voice podcast. We are at the end of the year. And so today I want to talk about resolutions, goal setting, and how to obtain those goals and stick to those goals. And so for me, and I think I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, I am not a New Year's resolution person. That is not me. Not to say that there's anything wrong with those of you who do set resolutions or participate in resolutions. I am just, I firmly believe that you can make a change or do anything any time of the year, right? You don't have to be restricted to the beginning of the year. I know for many, it helps because it kind of gives them a starting point, and you definitely need a starting point. So I get that a part of it, but for me, I don't like to wait to the end of the year to start something. Kind of going back a little bit, reading another article from YouGov, they talked about the number of people that typically fail at their New Year's resolutions. And, New Year's resolutions usually start, you start in the data, you start to see a tick off. When I say tick off, you see a drop off in terms of people who set them in January and are still successful. Usually around that February 15th going into March, you see a huge decline. If any of you who work out at gyms, you know this. I used to work out at gyms for years, and you would see in January there would be like an influx of people just would come into the gym, and then by March, it would get back to almost its normal capacity. But reading this article from YouGov, it said that 54% of people, and they did this survey like in February of last year, said 54% of people who had set resolutions in January mostly stuck to them. And then as you get further and further along, you see this number drop off, but I just kind of want to talk about that. But going back to that article from Very Well Mind, because that's really what kind of brought me here today. I wanted to understand the psychology behind why people fail at resolutions. And one of the first things that they pointed out here was one of the biggest issues with New Year's resolutions, and I'm reading directly from the article, it says we're thinking too big. It's that often, we set goals that are around huge changes, right? Like obviously one of the biggest ones is to lose weight or to get healthier. And losing weight and getting healthy, and I'm not a dietitian, but I can just tell you, it it is truly a lifestyle change. It's not just exercising and changing your eating habits if you do. And many times, when people do fail, one of the challenges is that they haven't changed their eating habits, but it's a total lifestyle change, right? It's, getting more sleep. You might have to change your travel times to and from work, or how many hours you work, time that you spend with your family. It's a lifestyle change when you truly are dedicated to losing weight. But one of the things that they note here in this article is that we're thinking too big. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, a little bit more about that when I get to setting goals, because I have a method that I've utilized before and that I want to kind of share. But that's the number one reason in terms of psychology behind why people fail. Number one, they're thinking too big. The second one, which I thought was huge, is we aren't asking why, right? That you're not asking why you want to make these changes, right? Why do you want to make these changes? Why do you want to lose weight? Are you trying to lose weight because you want to lose weight for aesthetics? Are you doing it for health reasons? You're trying to, slow down the aging process. What are the reasons why you're doing it? So a lot of people don't ask the reason why. They just say, I want to lose weight, or I want to save more money. But why, right? There has to be a targeted reason. The third one, and I've talked about this in a previous podcast about the stages of change. But basically, people fail at their resolutions or their goals at the beginning of the year because they're just not ready to change. In their mind, they've thought about changing, but they haven't changed. And there's a whole psychology behind the change process, which I've talked about. I forget which episode number is that, but there's basically 5 stages of change, and that's pre-contemplation, then you have contemplation, preparation, action, and then maintenance. Most people usually get stuck in pre-contemplation, right? They're thinking about it, but oftentimes when they fall off, or some people don't even get the resolution started, even though they've made the announcement to everyone, one of the biggest ones is that they don't see it through. And a lot of it is because they don't have the structure. And I'm going to talk about what structure or suggest a structure that you can use to kind of help you get that accomplished. But those are the 3 big reasons in terms of why people don't see their resolutions come to fruition in the new year, right? And number 1, they're thinking too big. Number 2, they are not asking why they want to make the change. They're just saying, I want to make a change. And then 3, they're just not ready to change. Even though they've said it, they feel it. Ready to change is a firm decision. And matter of fact, the definition for resolution, because I was looking up, I said, well, because words have meanings. They just do. I know it's, an obvious phrase, but a lot of times all of us use words and we don't realize the meaning behind it. But resolution specifically means a firm decision to do or not to do something. And so when you make a resolution, or you're resolved in making that change, it's a firm decision. It's not something that you should be contemplating. There has to be some actionable items or actionable steps to make those resolutions not only come to fruition, but to stick throughout the entire year until the goal is accomplished. So, as I was saying, there is a method that you can utilize to do this, and I've used this method in the past, and some of you may have heard of this as well. It's called the SMART goal method of goal setting, and SMART is an acronym for those of you who may not have heard of this. So it's SMART, SMART, and the SMART goal setting method is literally a process of 5 different steps that you have to utilize in order to see your goals and your resolutions come to fruition. So I'll go through that, and then we'll close out from there. So the first one is the S. The S stands for specific. You want to be specific about the goal that you are trying to accomplish. And that kind of goes back to the article from Very Well Minded when they talked about, we're thinking too big. You have to be specific. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. How much weight? Right? And that kind of goes into the next step of the SMART goal setting method, which is the M. So once you're specific, I want to lose weight. The next thing you have to say is how much weight do you want to lose? Because the M is measurable, right? So you have be specific. I'm going to lose weight. Then it has to be measurable. How much weight are you going to lose? I want to lose 30 pounds. And I'm using weight as an example because that's the number one resolution that people utilize. I mean, you can apply this to anything. You can talk about how much money you want to save, debt you want to reduce. You want to go back to school. You want to get a new job. You want to start a business. I mean, it's endless, right? So the beautiful thing about the SMART goal setting method is that it can be applied to anything, but I'm using weight because weight is usually the number one resolution for most people. So be specific, has to be measurable. And I'm reading here from Quality Assurance, they did a good breakdown about the SMART goal setting method. They said the progress of the goal should be measurable. In addition, the end results can be measured too, right? So I'm going to lose 30 pounds. You're going to lose 30 pounds when? This is when you get to obtainable, the A. So again, I'm going through the SMART goal setting method, SMART. So now I'm at the A. The S is for specific, be specific. The M is measurable. The A is achievable. I'm going to lose 30 pounds by doing this plan, right? I'm going to, because what you want to do with the achievable, the A is achievable because you want to set a plan that you can actually stick to, right? You don't want to say, I'm going to lose weight by going to the gym 3 hours a day when you know you don't have 3 hours a day to get that accomplished, right? You want to set an achievable goal to lose those pounds, or to save that money, or to pay down that debt, or to start that business. Again, however you want to utilize it, but it has to be achievable. I'm going to work out an hour a day because I know I can afford. That's achievable for me to work out an hour a day. I'm going to prep my meals 3 times a week, however you want to do it. Or I'm going to save $100 every paycheck, or $1,000 every paycheck, $5,000 every paycheck, wherever you're at on the scale, in order to save money. But it has to be achievable. The R stands for realistic. Again, and it kind of goes towards achievable, right? In terms of realistic, can you really get that done within your current lifestyle, right? Can you really work out for an hour? Or does it have to be 30 minutes? Can you save $500 a check, or do you have to cut it down to $250? Be realistic, right? Don't try to do something that's beyond what your capabilities are. And then the last one is time. Time is, for me, I think measurable and time are the two most important parts of this, right? It has to be measurable. So if you say you're going to save more money, and your goal is to save $10,000 this year, and you say you're going to do that within 12 months, that is the parameters that you're working in at that point, and you should be able to measure that you were able to save that money, and by the time that you set for yourself, you should be able to say, okay, 12 months is here, I have $10,000, or I've started the business, or I've lost the weight. Again, I'm going back to school, whatever you want to apply it to. So the SMART goal setting method is truly effective. I've utilized it myself. So I'm not talking about anything that, I haven't done myself. I've struggled with goals in the past, and kind of, not going forward and getting stuff done. And years ago, I found this method, and it really helped me to hone in on, getting things accomplished for myself and for the goals that I set out, to see things come to fruition. So it's called the SMART goal setting method. And, I'll post this into the video as well, the link, so you can read more up on it. But that's important. Now, talking from a personal standpoint, again, like I said, I've dealt with procrastination and things of that nature. There's been years I've said I'm going to do things, and I've gotten into February and March too, and just fell off the wagon, and I'll do it next year. That's why, literally decades ago, I stopped setting resolutions. It's kind of like when the idea pops into my head, I start this process in terms of, the SMART goal method, and then also the change method, as I was talking. And I start moving towards, putting those things together. I'm not getting too technical into terms of building a planner and 30-day, 90-day. I'm talking kind of from a bigger overview. But the two things that are most important, the three things that I live by, are time, commitment, and perseverance. And those are the things that have to be applied to any dream or goal that you have. You have to put the time in. You have to stay committed. And if you stay committed, I promise you perseverance will be the ultimate result. You will persevere and see your dream or your goal come to fruition. That's, again, from a personal standpoint, those are the things that I utilize. They're engraved in many items of mine. No, I don't have tattoos, but they are those three things are probably the most important things that have helped me to continue to kind of move along and making sure that, whatever I say I'm going to do, I get done. The last thing that I would recommend, and I don't do a lot of recommendations, but in terms of books, but a book that I read that has truly tremendously helped me, and this is not a plug, I'm not getting paid for this, I'm just telling you this is something that I've read, and literally sits in my app, on my Kindle app, and I refer to it often to this day, and I've read this book almost a decade ago. It is called The Undefeated Mind. It is by an author by the name of Alex Lickerman. And for those of you who are watching YouTube, I just pulled this up. But this book is definitely a must read for those of you who want to see your dreams and your goals come to fruition. And I say this because in this book, it is not just a, hey, this is how you do it book. It truly digs into the science behind why we don't get things done. Not even say that. It digs into the science of how we view ourselves, which then kind of reveals why sometimes we can't get goals and dreams accomplished, but then provides, again, going back to SMART goals, achievable and relevant ways to get to develop a mindset to where not only do you believe that you can do anything, you actually do anything. Anything. And again, I don't recommend books. I'm not being paid for this, but I'm just telling you, this is a great book. It's a great read. And again, it's called The Undefeated Mind. It's by Alex Lickerman. Go ahead and check it out. You will not be disappointed. So that is my time for today. I do hope this information was helpful and impactful. As always, if you would like to leave a comment, you can reach us on any of the social media platforms. You can reach us at the People's Voice Podcast on Instagram. You can reach me at Trey Evans. You can just Google Trey Evans and tap into any of the links that I come up on. But this is the last one for the year, so I wish everyone a happy holiday season. And as always, dreams are not just for sleeping. Please wake up and live your dreams. My name is Trey Evans, the People's Voice. Tell somebody about the dream. Salute. The People's Voice.